Welcome to the latest dope episode of the HipPodHedz podcast. A podcast hosted by No Vac and No Sage as they discuss their hip-hop inspired moments. Pull up a chair, grab a beverage, fill up your cup and get comfortable. This is episode number 50, volume 2. Enjoy the conclusion of this continued conversation.
I'm Hayes, host creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcast. And listen, I love what Known Sage does. Y'all make sure y'all go and check out his hip hop podcast as well, which is HipPodHedz. You guys make sure you guys check him out on that.
Yeah, it's another element too that I want to call out. So we understand that there's this big machine, and the machine is not selling no positivity. They ain't not interested in that. They want the most ratchet, dirty, grimy, murderous, slanderous. That's what they want. And so if you're trying to make it in the industry and you're a young cat, forget about trying to be conscious. Even if you are a young, wise dude, put that to the side. You trying to make this money, talk about how you killing people, talk about, you know, who giving you top in the back seat of the Lambo, like all of that. Like, that's the wave, and it's the business. That just leave, like, if we took the art out of it, if we took morality out of it, the business is calling for a Cardi B. You know, they're looking for these images, and because that's what's selling. That's what they sell. You take Nas, who had a run doing his signed career, right? He was with Columbia, and now he got Mass Appeal Records, and he like, I got my money, I got my own record label, so I'm gonna make the art that I want to make. I make my money over there now. I don't have to do what y'all want me to do. You know what I'm saying? So to me, what Nas is doing, this 6-album run between the Magic series and the King's Disease series, it's like, this is the music that you get from a Nas when money ain't a factor.
I got a question too in that same lane. Like my thought process is this: I'm in total alignment. Like, the record companies, that's their whole goal, to pitch out the worst. I mean, like, music that's really destructive to our community. My challenge to that, I mean, and I'm asking this is a question: do you think they sell that music because it's in this world that's the only thing that works, or do you think that it's intentional to? Is it like continue to destroy the black community?
I don't think that. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know that they care so much one way or the other. I don't know that they're trying to destroy anybody. I think they're trying to make money. And if we want to look at the metrics, it's less about the impact on black folk. It's less about impact on our community. It's more about how the white dollar is moving. And I remember when we first looked at, I remember this, when I was at Benedictine, I learned about black rappers from white people that I had never heard of. I'm like, what is this that you listening to? And like, oh, this is Project Pat, or this is 3-6 Mafia. These are names that I never knew, but they were digging into these joints. I'm like, y'all listen to this? I'm listening to these records, and these are our white counterparts who own the baseball team, or they, business majors at Benedictine University. And I'm like, they the ones that are buying this music. They crave the most hood of the hood sound.
Okay.
Give you another example. You look at the kind of records that make their way to the playlist at a major sports arena, a football game. I'm just down in New Orleans at a football game at Tulane University, and man, they had a stadium lit up. They turn up on all of these the stuff that's out now. They ain't listening to no Common at the stadium. They're not playing the kind of music that we may prefer to listen to. Even you're not gonna hear no Jay-Z or no Nas, as popular as they might be, but you're gonna hear some of these joints that are like the trunk rattlers. They want that.
And that's young boy
money. And so if you're a record company X and you look at the market and you say, okay, this ain't about our feelings. Who's buying this music? And they say, well, the 70+% of the consumers, people who gonna pay for these albums, they're gonna stream these albums, they're gonna be at the shows, they're gonna buy the freaking merch like crazy. It's these people over here. And they've been spending the money since hip hop has been in the mainstream. And so then the business person says, well, how do we keep giving them what's gonna keep them spending? And I think that's how the cycle goes. Now, if the net effect is, yeah, this probably is killing somebody, or there's people who are like going to jail because of the freaking you know, offspring of this whole phenomenon, so be it. We make
Right.
it. We
Right.
we getting our money off the product. We getting our money off of these shows, and we getting money off of all of the endorsements and the all the other deals that come with this. It's a sickening situation, but it's capitalism at its finest.
At its
And
finest, yeah.
what I appreciate though, and this is why I think Nas is one that is, you know, kind of showing what a victory lap looks like. It's like, okay, I walked through that fire. I was once on that side where I had to navigate this thing and figure out how do I crank out these albums because I got a freaking contract that I got to adhere to. But then as soon as I'm able to break free, I'm gonna start my own company. I'm gonna sign myself as an artist on my own label, and we finna crank out these records that still smack. But this is the art that we want to create, you know, and we're not freaking jumping through the hoops of the industry anymore. We actually creating our own wave. And that's why I salute what they're doing, because I get that bigger context of like breaking free from the machine. That machine ain't no joke. I'm telling you.
Ain't no joke, oh man. I know, yeah.
Lived in LA, I got to see some of it up close, man, because you would see, like, if you can imagine, you know, the way we would see people standing in line for the club, people waiting in line. Just imagine that on steroids. People always waiting in somebody's line. They want to get on. They want to. I even, in full transparency, my wife told me about. I think it was America's Got Talent or something like that. She was like, "You should just go and see what it's about. I'm gonna sign you up for it." So I signed up for it, and I went in there and I was singing and all. Man, I felt like a freaking uh, cow being led to the slaughter, sitting in there among all these people in the convention center, hoping that somebody would pick me to go to the next round and all of that. And salute to those who have done that before and those who have phenomenal careers because they went through the ranks. But I was just sitting in there like, man, they just treating human beings like meat, like just trying to figure out who we want to put on TV. And it's plenty of talented people in here, but the way that they'll slice and dice this thing when it's all said and done is people who are really banking on being able to get noticed by somebody so that then they could be a part of something. And even when they get to be a part of something, they finna get raped on that side as well. It's like, yo, it's nuts, bro.
Yeah.
Well, you hear another artist stuff, like, you know, the thing is, when we all say somebody's crazy or somebody lost their way, I wonder sometimes it's almost like that. It's almost like being in a sunken place, you know, musically or even career wise. Sometimes, you know, like you write what Nas said, you know, it's about getting off that deal and being able to do your own thing. And that's the thing that, you know, I took from college in that situation is we don't go to college to work for somebody for a lifetime. We got to find a way to get independent so we can do our own dreams and goals at some point, because, you know, you wake up one day and be like, damn, I spent this much time doing this and I had to answer the whole time. It's crazy when you think about it. Like, you know, the song I listened to, a song that hit me hard one day, I was in the car, I was listening to Waves. You ever listen to Kanye Waves, what he's saying in that song? He said, waves don't die. Let me crash here for a moment. I don't need to own it. And I was sitting there like, what the hell? You know, everybody like, he take his mask that day. I'm listening to this stuff and I'm like, this dude, or a lot of artists are like crying out for help on a record deal. If you listen to it, what they're saying, you know, like, you know, when they drop a track, you're like, is he trying to wave a flag to help me? They got me or something like that. So it's crazy. You know, you listen to artists today that we think are crazy. You know, you think you listen to Rick James or anybody, listen to what they're singing about. Right. And you'd be like, wow, he's singing about something totally different than what we know. We intrigued by drum beats, Jay. You remember we used to always talk about that, being intrigued by that drum beat, but listening to this guy basically, these guys creating whole scenes. It ain't like what you get from Griselda. Griselda rapping about selling dope, shooting people, and just being the hardest dude in Buffalo, New York. But these new artists, the Pac Andersons and stuff like that, these guys are like, they're singing about, they rapping about feelings and emotions and what's going on, what's going wrong in their life every day. Yeah, I don't agree with everything Kanye saying, but when you listen to his music, the problem is, Jay, you just put it out there in a way it's classy. He put it out there in a way it's like it's coming off so ragged that you can't agree with him. He's saying the same thing you saying, but he's saying it in a negative manner. You just said in a heartbeat, we need to change the way we look at stuff. We need to get rid of these people.
Right. No, one thing I can say about Ye, I feel like what Ye did was I picture him like a running back. He knowingly ran through he ran in like, I know what this is. I'm going though. I'm putting my gear on and I'm about to run through here. But just like a running back, it may be sometimes that you're able to break through them holes, but then you got 5 people hanging on to your ankles and you still trying to run. It's like, man, they dragging me down, and so he's an example of somebody who played with it. He got on the field and he played with it. He even revealed, he was like, I was never no backpacker, man. He's like, I was doing it. Did y'all hear?
Yeah, I remember he said, yeah. He said, I'm doing what I gotta do.
Yeah, he's like, man, I ain't, I became that so because I felt like that was a lane that I could enter into the game on. But as soon as that wasn't serving him the way that he wanted to, he flipped. And then and then he flipped again. He's figuring out how to be strategic. But again, like these are the games that people play in order to try to quote unquote make it. And the cost of it, I just sat back and watched, and I'm like I said, using that analogy of seeing people standing outside in the line for the club, I started asking myself, why, knowing what I know, why would I ever stand in this line? Why would I ever stand in anybody's line? Knowing what I know, hearing Prince himself cry out, saying they're doing us wrong, hearing all of these artists who we respect, who are incredible musicians. They came with, great intentions of giving the world beautiful art, and they're crying out. You got cats moving overseas trying to escape the pain that they're experiencing by being pimped by a machine that don't even have a face or a name. And it's like they're not cutting your check, or they're taking this from you, or somebody basically taking art that you made from your blood, sweat, and tears, your real life experience, and they're waving it in your face like, you want this back? I know this came from your soul, but do you want it back? And you see people eating off of your art that you're like, who is this person? They riding around and feeding, they sending their kids to school off of your art, and you don't get money from it. It's bruh, knowing what we know, when you hear Bounce and Bounce 2, and the fact that we figured out, like, if we're going to get this music out without standing in nobody's line, we're going to figure out how to use our own equipment, our own skills, our own real stories. Ain't a lie on none of these albums. This is real life. And I'm so proud that we're able to take this path and that we don't have to jump through anybody's hoops, and like Truth said a little bit ago, all of that being said, it still can stand up against anything that's out there, man. It's been new albums that's dropped over the last year, and I will be finding myself listening to those albums when I'm riding around. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear this shit, man. Put Bounce 2 on. It's cool, but this ain't us,
Right. Yeah.
But and yes, I'm biased, but it's even the energy that I prefer. I'm like, man, there's nobody that's giving me the energy that could match what me and my bro has pulled together. So and I would say this last thing on that, if we can't be that kind of proud about what we're working on, then we shouldn't even be making it.
No. Definitely.
You're right about that, because you got artists that make albums just to get off the deal. They thought they turned in some garbage just to get off the
Mm-hmm.
deal to get
Going
freedom.
against the wall, like, all
There you
right,
go.
you need another album here. You
Yeah, I'm
know,
here. My throwaway joint that I ain't put on my album that I love. Here these is. Yeah, yeah.
Lost tapes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Last two.
yeah, but you gotta be thinking though, Jay, when you said that, man, why would I stand in that line, man? That's a hunting statement when you think about it. That's a life statement. That's the whole thing, corporate America sometimes.
it's true.
Why would I stand in that line? You made me get a chill over it. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
you sure you ain't in my dreams or something? You said, why would I stand in that line? It's crazy
Like
because
lambs
what
to
you
the
would
slaughter.
do.
Like lambs to the slaughter, man.
Yeah.
Like it even invokes like last when
No,
Ye and Ty Dolla $ign was doing that like rave in Vegas and they were charging like 2 stacks to be there in person and 2 stacks to stream it to their line. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
never mind like Ye and all of his craziness. Cause like, man, like I was just talking to Novak a little earlier today about it. It's like he actually was dropping some dope like mature bars in Jesus is King 2, which we'll never see because it won't sell, obviously. But now that he's behind this like whatever this thing is by the end of this month, it's just scary, like, how he's trying to advantage of the industry, but obviously the industry has taken advantage of him, and other artists. So it's just a parallel that it's so crushing, man.
You don't have the right
Yeah.
people around them. He ain't in the right room right now. The problem with that talent, as you say, Jay, the thing is, man, you put the right people around that talent, it'll blow up the right way. He might not make the money he think he's gonna want to make in that situation. It ain't about money at that point. I always tell, like, you talk to kids at work and stuff. It ain't always about money. All money ain't good money. You could make all the money you want and still go home, and this grown man go home at night and cry at night making 3 figures
Yeah.
because they ain't happy. They ain't happy, in that situation. That's the thing you try to teach the younger generation is, be an entrepreneur, figure it out, go out there and do your own thing. I always tell them, hey, if you're still working for me 3 years from now, something wrong with you. I want you to be better than me and find your own path and come back and tell me about how great it is, as opposed to me saying, hey, would you like 2% next year? That's the problem. That's the problem with culture right now. There's no creativity. There's no evolution in thought. We can't keep doing the same thing we've been doing for the last 20, 30 years. You got to evolve. It's the same thing with friendships over time. How many your guys from grammar school still doing the same stuff, or their height and light was when they were 14? It's scary when you get on a call with somebody you ain't seen in 20-something years. Man, you remember we went up there, man, we put 30 on them.
Mm-hmm.
He remembers that day like it was yesterday. I'm like,
yeah,
I think we played that. I don't remember. You don't remember, man? I got the jersey still, man. And you be looking like, man, you get that Eddie K moment for a moment. You be looking like, man, come on, we got to go Eddie tripping out over here, man. But,
Yeah.
the evolution with men in general and us in general, it has to keep happening in order for our communities to go to where they need to go. Like, even I work with non-for-profits a lot up here, and it's scary to see how underdeveloped a non-for-profit can be with all these great leaders and organizations. And these are people with masters and MBAs. How are you guys only going 2 inches when we need to go 40 yards? I don't understand it sometimes.
but the whole idea of show me your friends, I'll show you your future. The people that you're hanging around, the people who you chop it up with, that is so important. And I think we can all agree, even tying back to something that we talked about earlier, is as brothers, no matter what stage of life we found ourselves connected in, we've always been more than just hooping. We've always been more than just music. We would kick game to one another to figure out, okay, how can we take the information that we're getting to level up in life? And so, I think that's another important element too of like trading information that helps us expand what I said it in the joint, offering our children perspectives we couldn't afford. Like we're still driving each other to be our best selves so that we can continue to evolve. And the point that I was making about like the music industry, it does apply to all aspects of life. How many of these lines are we invited to stand in? Just blindly stand here, and one day you're going to get picked. Maybe you'll get picked. And then what happens because of pride for a lot of people who once were on top is you then end up spending so much time and energy trying to earn your respect back. So now you're doing dumb stuff. You waiting in line because it's like they ain't respecting me how I'm supposed to be respected. So now you out here sounding like a fool, yelling all the time because people ain't respecting you. But it's like forget it all. Just go do your thing. You don't need their respect. You don't need their validation. You know, a buddy of mine recently reached out and asked me something about the Grammys or something, and I was just like, man, I don't care about that. Like, I don't care. I don't care if I ever won a Grammy or not. Like it's even if I won a Grammy, and what? What does that really mean? Like when it's all said and done, you can spend a lifetime chasing the validation of people who can't even do what you can do. How they even know?
Right.
How do they know? Like, I'd rather for the streets, I'd rather for our friends, our people who really know to be like, this is the true representation of what ill is for us. That's more important to me than somebody who ain't never been on Jackson. You know, ain't never seen 90 to say like, yeah, this is a dope album or whatever it might be. So I think we have an opportunity to reshift the power structure when we stop looking to them for validation and or support at all. Like just build your own, figure it out yourself. Like forget it. And the last thing I would say, and this goes back to what you were saying earlier, Truth, about what AD is doing. You know, I'm very interested in jumping out of the streaming game myself. Like I think it's cool to have some stuff up there so people who want to know who we are, what we do, that they can go and stream the music. But like to really take control, it is gonna require us to say, okay, from now on, y'all gotta come to Bandcamp and spend some time with us the old school way. You know, buy the album, buy the album. We got vinyls up there. Order a vinyl, we'll ship it to you. It's all of the merch is up there, and the relationship between us as the artist and Bandcamp is fair. Like they get their little cut for hosting the stuff, but it's like no, you still are the one that's making the money when your fans come in and check you out. I don't know what we bounce to. Have you received a check, Truth?
No check, not for Spotify. Nope.
Well,
Hey,
look at it this way, Jay.
I would love a vinyl though. A vinyl, your both of your projects would sound nice on a vinyl. If that
Oh
ever
yeah,
happens.
we should do that. We should do that, Jay. For real. Yeah.
Even if it's
I'll make a
bounced
comment
or
there.
whatever.
You get the way I started looking at it lately, basically, is that it's like it's like somebody selling drugs, right? You buying drugs from somebody just to pay them back at this point. The way I always tell, like the classic line we use at work now, and this is like some of my interns and stuff like that. Like you gotta learn to sell your own dope, man. I'm serious. It's like what it is that you talking Bandcamp, right? Now I work in the IT space. The funny thing is, we always talk about what if we help you guys build that platform to distribute your own music rather than pay Bandcamp. It's your platform. You own it. That's the stuff I dream about at night. Is like, man, how do we separate from paying somebody to do something at this point? Because the thing is, we got too many talented people around us to be paying somebody. It's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, right here in our phone. And that's the beauty of how we have been networked over these years. Like we can literally call somebody who does some of everything right in your phone. And these are like legit homies. Like this person is doing this these days. Like, oh, call over there. They can help you out with this or help you out with that. So the idea of collaborating, it extends across, disciplines and professions and so forth. So I think that's dope too. And I want to talk to you about that because when you talk about creating your own platform, that is the ultimate. To me, Bandcamp becomes a good next step from like getting out of the streaming world. But the ultimate is to say like, no, we have our own online store and it's all hosted there. I ain't paying nobody a fee for hosting nothing,
Right.
Yeah,
So,
the three examples that come to mind is when Jay-Z tried to do Tidal, and obviously he was trying make that a thing. I remember Novak was talking about the sound that Tidal actually had was like actually decent quality. It's kind of a shame that that's not anymore. Obviously, y'all know the of the newest Black Star album with Yasin Bey and Talib, right? Like they put it on platform, that podcasting platform. I forget what it's called.
I forgot. I
Luminary.
remember, Luminary. Paid $100 for that album, right?
Yeah, just to hear the album, and I did it too. You know what I'm saying? And then the last thing too is like, I hate to keep invoking cringeworthy Ye because like he was trying to do that with right with like that stem player, and he was like saying, hey, if you actually want and by the way, you can actually do a lot of different things with it too. So I mean, there is so many different go about it, but it is like a fascinating discussion. I also wanted to go back a little bit, not to derail this convo because like this is a nice topic, but Truth, when you're talking about like Scorsese doing stuff like kind of like almost synonymous with now, I actually copped the latest movie he directed, the Native American movie Killers of the Flower Moon, and it's kind of interesting too to kind of think about like when you want to sell your art and you want to still stay relevant, because like as dope as a director he is, and Novak knows I'm always a film fan first, right? So it's like he was trying to grip like how do I jump onto the streaming platform now that I've been like a mainstay director for so long. And it's kind of like weird that movie on Apple TV, which is fine. The movie's quality, I seen it, but it also is kind of like a heartbreaking movie because like I'm part Native and the film is almost filmed like it's a gangster movie, but like about the genocide of Native Americans. So it's very, very, very equworthy. It is dope movie to watch, but like again, it speaks to like, is this what we have to constantly like return to kind of hear these type of stories or like to actually get some product out there?
So he got a new joint on Apple TV right now.
Killers of the Flower Moon. It dropped earlier in the theaters earlier this year, and then I rented it like a month or so ago. So I had to sit down and watch it in three goes between kids events and whatnot. But yeah, it's a dope movie though.
Yeah, I see. I see what you said. We need news stories. The problem is like you can't keep telling. Like New Jack City was a play last year. You know they had a Christmas play called New Jack City. Wow. They actually tried to put it on Broadway, and nobody went. So that was the first time we stood up as people and said, "You ain't gonna have a New Jack City play." And, they even used some people from the original movie. They used I can't think of his name right now. Nino's brother. I can't think of his name right now. The actor. Yeah, he was in the play, and I was like, man, for that time period, New Jack City was crazy to us, right? But as you evolve as a person, as a man, as a human being, you go, damn, why is every story, like even you think about The Chi, right? I know a lot of people work on The Chi. No disrespect to The Chi, but that wasn't my Chi growing up, as you guys already know. So watching The Chi, I'm sitting there like, it's like a bad drug deal going on with comedy. This is the whole South Side. So South Side versus Chi is totally different what the West Side Chi will look like, or just the city in general. Like, you see us transitioning out of blocks, they don't work like The Chi. Because, people that don't live in Chicago would move to as transplants. I had somebody ask me at work, is The Chi the way you guys grew up? And I kind of looked at the person. I was mad for a minute, and I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and end this call real quick. And I pulled her off the call and explained to her, like, that's not the way I saw this in Chicago. That's not the way I grew up. Well, it wasn't like, what about the movie Barbershop? Was it close to how you grew up? I'm like, stop. But, they don't know any better. So I think it's important that, Truth, you and Jay keep telling them stories to educate people on, like, what it was like and what it could be like at the same time. Because we could create whatever storyboard we want right now. We can influence people in different ways that we couldn't influence our own culture at. That's the challenge right now, to create new stories, new worlds. You ain't gotta be selling dope. You ain't gotta be carjacking. We can do positive stories. I think that bad energy is what's killing us as people right now, because we're looking for the negative in every story. There's no good story. The Godzilla is the most positive damn thing ever released recently. And,
I want to see that. I can't wait to watch that.
You know what he was about, man. My wife get ready to go see Color Purple like this next week. And it's a remake. It's an adaptation of adaptation. So we got to see how this plays out, because Spielberg, when he did The Color Purple, you still want, there's some questionable things in The Color Purple, as you guys know. So I try to keep it, I'm not gonna run nobody else's showing of The Color Purple. That'll probably be a Carl Bernardo argument on Facebook at some point. I'm waiting for that. We'll probably have like a Color Purple, why didn't you see it moment, or it was the best movie I ever saw. So, everybody's got different interpretations, but I want new stories like like Bounce 2 is a movie. Think about that. That whole soundtrack is the soundtrack to like a movie. If you think about it, you put that, I think the evolution is taking Bounce to like motion picture or taking it to video.
I appreciate that.
That's the evolution for Bounce.
I appreciate that. That's a really good idea. Me and my bro talk about that too with projects that we work on. But that's something we need to, man, because they don't have time. Like some of the tracks that we made, they're not encapsulated in time per se. It's just messages of the Black experience that I feel that on video will be impactful if we execute it correctly. So
that's honestly my dream of where, if you ask me like, okay, so where does this all go from here? I can see more camera. I mean, I think the music will remain persistent, but I think the camera got to come out, man. I want to start to capture more of these stories in video form. Like I dream about documentaries. I mean, sometimes it's just a scene that I want to give people an opportunity to experience. Like, it don't even have to be a whole story. I just want you to know what that looked like as well. What it sounds like. But like, have you ever come down this street and turn this corner? Like, can you picture this scene? Like what it was like or what it is like, So the visuals, I agree 100%. And a lot of times when I'm writing, I actually do listen to the music with my eyes closed for some time, because before I put the pen to the paper, like I want to know what is the scene that I'm in. When like my job is essentially to be a vessel to communicate what I'm envisioning. Like for every song that we have, I can say like I picture something, and that's what kicks my pen off. I picture something, and it's over from there. Like I just start writing because I'm in a scene. I'm inside a scene at this point. So I appreciate you mentioning that, and I dream of that. Like that'll be a dream come true if we can move, to act like you said, Truth, to execute it effectively. We're really capturing these joints visually, or if we team up with the right, director, producer who gets it, and they're like, we can team up and y'all do the scores, and boom, we got these visuals popping. That'll be so dope.
Yeah, definitely. I think I
love the idea of it. I was just gonna say the idea of the visuals, because for me, being so heavy into the film fandom, like whenever I hear a song that can unravel like it's a movie, I feel like that's like a masterclass in my eyes. And Jay, I know you dropping the beat tapes. Like I know like you just moving emotion, even without words, just sounds. It's just like speaks volumes. So I just love that both of you being sound dudes were able to make it happen on these two projects. And then the hip hop side of me just loves that the duos in hip hop.
Yeah, the system just got had to stop them for a minute. But you're right about the duos and everything like that. You guys' synergy is what creates those visuals, and then you start thinking in terms of the right producer, and we might even know somebody. It's crazy because we did a pod with a guy. We'll put it up later, and he did a visual off the lakefront of three MCs sitting on the lakefront, just flowing all at different times to come in and finishing the story. It's sick. So I think that you're right. It's the right producer. It's somebody that you guys vibe with. That might vibe with somebody just sitting and just spitting ideas with them, bouncing it off. Bounce should be created the same. The Bounce video should be created the same way you guys created the albums and the tracks. It's the same. They sitting with that producer, talking to him, say, "Hey, I want it to look this way." Have them come back and give you something and see what it looks like. I totally agree because I'm a visual person. And Jay, it's almost like back in the day, if you were learning You learn how to cross somebody over a certain way. You were visualizing the whole time how you want to put the ball on the floor and how you want to make that dude stand up and go by it. It's the same thing with what you guys doing with music. You guys are crossing us over, making us stand up, and then going to the basket on us. And that's pretty much what hip hop needs right now, and that's hip hop music in general. You ain't got that right now. Right now you got Rico going on in Atlanta, right? Half Atlanta going to jail. Besides Outkast, Drake. I mean, we might get an Andre album at the Thug and the rest of everybody down there go down. There might be nobody left in the industry except for Future at this point. So, I think right now, make that visual bounce. It could be like what we did back in the day with Streets is Watching. You remember we love Streets is Watching.
Yeah.
And the dorms, man.
And that
bounce like Streets is Watching.
That's a great example, because you could tell that camera was from their perspective. There was not. It was intentional what they were showing us, and it echoed the vibe of the music. It like that film made me a greater Jay-Z fan. It made me a greater fan of what they were doing, because I now had the context surrounding the music that was like, oh, okay, like I already got it, but like this seals the deal. I see it now, I felt like I was
Yep.
Oh yeah, we got dropped off in Brooklyn, man. When he went shopping for shoes and everything like that in that video, I thought that's the way we go get shoes at that point. It wasn't, but that's why you got to be careful what imagery you put out there, because this whole generation of people thinking that's the way to do it.
It's powerful, man. It's very powerful. Those visuals are very, very powerful.
Yeah, I apologize. I think I cut off, but that's where I was going. It's like when Jay-Z did the Streets is Watching mini movies, everyone was copycatting, everyone was doing their own version of it after that. And then you fast forward to like Pharrell doing like movie scores, you know what I'm saying? It's like hip hop homies that are actually doing needle drops and being able to kind of do a film score. Cause like I know the 9 Inch Nails dude, Trent Reznor, he's done a lot of things too, but the rap side of my brain can't help but not think like, why can't a lot of these hip hop producers get on this? It doesn't necessarily always have to be like a fully orchestrated thing with a huge orchestra or nothing like that, like, because for me, every time I hear a needle drop of some sort, like my brain goes somewhere. So the camera time.
RZA is another one who did a lot of scores too.
100%, 100%.
And I think that there's a lot to be said by bringing that flavor. And this goes back to what you were saying too earlier, Jay, about like hip hop not necessarily having to be the beats and the rhymes, but you could feel that RZA was behind some of these scores because of his approach. The approach is hip hop. The output may not sound like what we traditionally recognize as hip hop in terms of like the beats and whatnot, but you hear it and you like, this is some hip hop stuff right here. Like, ain't nobody who has been academically trained approaching these scores like this. This is the most Staten Island approach. You can feel that. So I think it's all dope, man. I'm just grateful that we've been able to collaborate the way that we have up until this point. That it honors. I'm even looking at the album cover behind you, Novak, and like the fact that those are real photos of us in class.
Hey. Who unearthed that photo? Like, who actually had it in their shoebox somewhere? What was the story behind that?
So my cousin Dewan, who's also our peer, he's our, he was on most of the journey with us. There may have been a couple of those years that we were in our run from kindergarten through 8th grade that he was in different classes, but he's my blood cousin. His grandmother was a teacher at our school, and she had all kinds of photos of us as kids. Like so he was going through some of her archives, and one day out of the blue, he just started texting me pictures that he took from his phone of the physical copies that he was holding in his hand. And these were among that batch. And the quality was exactly like you see it. But again, kind of going to that same thing that we talked about earlier, Truth was like, yo, keep them just like this, keep them raw just like this. This the album cover. So when we start around with the album cover, we wanted it to look exactly how it looks because it's old. This is raw. You know, we wasn't going for no really pristine look and feel. We wanted to capture the truth about who we are. So that's us in class at Heffron. That's Costner and Wilcox right there.
Yeah.
And it just again to be able to work on stuff in this day and age that speaks about not only where we've been, but how we've matured to where we are today, how, our outlook on life, the things that we want to celebrate and push forward, the nuggets that we want to drop, the swag that we still want to. Because the other thing too is like, we ain't no chumps, like people don't get it twisted. Like we chose the path that we chosen, but we still came from that. We ain't no, we not no lames. And even musically too, it's like, yeah, we nice guys in the booth and all of that, but like, no, if you wanna put us next to whoever, like we can get down too. So we choose to talk about what we talk about. We can go elsewhere if we wanted to, but we wanted to capture the fullness of our story. And so the album covers tell our truth, the music tells our truth, and I'm just grateful to be able to do it.
I love the truths. Was there a little skit? I'm trying to remember if it was on the Jodeci Nights track where somebody's playing basketball or there's like a family moment going on.
Yeah, that was
what was going on there?
That's like we made it. It's weird how that came about. I think Jay had that idea to end the album, and I just happened to have a video of my son. This is when he first learning how to shoot the basketball through a 10 feet basketball rim. And at the end of it, he was like, "We made it." And I'm like, yo, that ties right back to the first record that we did. And that's actually the last thing that I did on that album. So it was just, us bouncing ideas. Jay like, man, you should because on the previous album, we had Jay's daughter on the album. And he just said, hey, we should do that again on this album. And that's how we ended Jodeci Nights, man. It is crazy.
I listened back to the album and the sequence of the songs, and we kind of mapped out like what songs we wanted to go second, third, and that whole bit. But then I would listen to the interludes or like the transitions, because you all know we like put some beats after a song to kind of like be your palate cleanser before the next song, that kind of thing. And I'm like, man, it's crazy. I don't think we overthought which of these beat flips we were gonna put where. But even those, man, like I listened to how they came about. I want to say it's the one after Burn It that goes into Dream War 2 or something like that. And even in the beat flip, I sampled a kid who was saying my dream is, and it's like it puts you in the mode of dream, and then the next joint is about dream. And so the synergy that we were moving in when we created the album we couldn't even tell y'all all of the different ways that this was not necessarily planned, but it worked out like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like just the byproduct of us just being really open to flowing in that creative space.
Yeah, it's a smooth transition. I know which track you're talking about. It's real smooth. It's like you set it up and delivered right after that bass, and it flowed right in there. Because that dream instance, the kid saying, the kid doing the ad lib in the background, it's like hunting almost. It's like ghostly almost. Like that person with you on the track, and then they fade out, and they say it again. So like, yeah, it's nice. You think about. I mean, you find more inspiration just listening to people talk and say phrases. Like you got me tripping on that. Why I want to stand in line right now.
Yeah,
I went out and found a scene outside a club, outside a black club from like the '90s. Somebody standing in line, and I'm looking like more Virgil at that point, putting on the back. Why would I stand in that line? Hashtag J Ferg.
There you go. There you go.
That's a black hoodie. That's yeah.
Let that be something that we all ask ourselves going forward. Like, okay. They're invited me to do this. It's like the people who, they're like, yeah, this is how much that you can get if you're doing like, okay, if they can cut me that check, how much are they getting to be able to cut me the check that they trying to sell me on. So I'm gonna dedicate my blood, sweat, and tears to doing this. But it's like if I'm smart, I'll only do that one time. I'll do that in a way where it's like, okay, I'm taking care of my family, but let me figure out a way to be the person who is actually, you know, making the machine crank, not necessarily being a recipient of it, especially when the person who's cutting the check can't even do what you do. That's the other thing, man. It's just like, how you paying me? You can't even do this.
Yeah.
Like if you just then maybe we can talk, but like you can't even do this, and you paying me what you give me a check for? What's your contribution?
What's his cut? You know, that's the thing I go through every day at work. When you do a project and they got you killing the project, and you be like, why should I do this? If I stop doing this, how do y'all get this done? You know, this is real talk. And then you sit there and go, okay, you can pay me X amount of money. How much is he making for my work at this point? Because it's the same artistry. We're working a 9 to 5. You got to think about it because there's doers and there's people that organize doers.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, there's people up there, they don't even have a clue what we talk about. We got to the point at where we make up words that don't make any sense in meetings to see exactly if they're listening. We'll make up a whole phrase, Truth, and be like, yeah, I gotta make this capacitor work a certain way. And we be doing this on calls to people now because they're not listening. A lot of people, they don't care how you did it. They just want to know what's done. That's the whole vice of America. It's like, ain't a lot of smart people in this country. There's a lot of people that know how to organize people to get what they want done, but there ain't no innovation right now. That's the big issue. Like musically, you guys are innovating. A Sexy Red, no disrespect in that situation, or some of these new artists, they go to this new ratchet level of it's just crazy. You ever listen to something and you feel embarrassed and you have to turn it out.
Yeah.
And that's bad. And you in the car like, she says booty hole brown, and I'm riding around. I'm like, I gotta turn that off, man.
Right.
People looking at
wow.
you. Wow.
I say the same thing about like you go on Instagram and you see the people with like millions of followers, and I'm like, man, why are they following this person? They either being bizarre or they're showing some physical body something or something like that. But if you got somebody with like excessive amounts of talent and they like have zero, no followers, you know what I'm saying? But that's America right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. I said me and Ferg was on there talking about shooting guns and acting crazy, and maybe the album would be even more popular. I don't know. It's crazy what works.
If we took that angle and we said, all right, I know we wasn't the ones really holding the guns, but let's take on that persona and tell the story about the West Side from that angle. It'll be all the rave. People want to hear about it. They want to know and then we get sucked into this cycle of having to keep up the lie. That's when people go crazy. You trying to a lie. Which lie did I tell y'all? Like, think about, God rest his soul, Michael Jackson, completely making up a voice for a public persona. The man did not speak like we hear him in interviews. That's not his real voice. He's a black man from Gary, Indiana. You think
right.
That
right.
He made up that voice, and he swore to himself, whenever these cameras are rolling, I gotta get into this mode. That will kill a person.
Yeah.
Over time, it will kill you. Like, you're gonna go crazy because you're now trying to live in this duality. That's a hard thing to do, man. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
How does it be yourself and stay true?
It's hard, man, because you can be the same person at work that you are at home. It's like evolution at that point. It took a long time to get to the point, I hate to say it, where you be like, that shit don't make no sense to me. I'm doing it at work and I do it at home now. And my wife look at me like, how do you talk to them at work like that? The same way I talk to you. Because it's like, at some point you go up the evolutionary ladder and you be like, you know what? I had people pretend to be something with me at work and I hate it. I'm not going to do that to my staff. I'm going to keep it real with them. Like, I had a guy, it's a whole crazy story. Guy worked for me. He goes, I don't have gas money to get to work. And, the answer to that in corporate America is, That's unfortunate. I was like, time out. Explain this shit to me. You don't have money to get to work, right? You got paid last Friday. I'm trying to understand this, man. Brother to brother, I'm trying to understand this. He goes, well, I took a girl out and I went to Vegas. That ain't my problem.
That ain't my problem.
I usually be there by 9 o'clock. He got there and he goes to me, you the first boss ever told me I was on bullshit and I need to get there by 9 o'clock. Hey, so he looked at me and gave me a half hug and said, I appreciate it, because I was about to lose my job. And the girl I took to Vegas said, here, take this gas money to get to work before you lose your job. You can't take me to Vegas no more. So I'm like, wow.
You put him up, you put a game that can possibly change his whole life, because you kept it real. That was the approach that corporate will tell you to take, but you took that real approach, brother to brother. Like, I'm a be myself right now, you know? And I think something happens when we are brave enough to walk that line and say, look, yeah, I'm going to be a professional, but I still have to be me. And there's value to being me. That's the thing too. Like, we devalue who we are and the skills that we bring. The realness that we bring is actually good for business.
Yeah.
It's actually good for business. Like, I can benefit this company by being the aspect of Westside J Ferg that I actually am. I could benefit. Like, I got perspective that you could never get. You ain't seen what I've seen. So I bring something to the table that can help. You know, and there are gonna be those situations where somebody is literally standing on the ledge from the jump. And as short, we didn't talk people off the ledge before. You know, like we walked up to somebody and we knew how to, like, hey Joe, I wouldn't do that if I was you. You know, like, those situations come in, and they come in handy now that we are in this phase of our lives. But if we spending all of our time trying to quote unquote code switch and divorce ourselves from who we actually are, you leaving all of those skills off limit. And that's just, like, unfortunate to ourselves, because we are humans. We are souls that need to exist in our fullest capacity, not be compartmentalized all the time. And it's dangerous, man, to get into that life where you can't even be yourself wherever you are. You can't be yourself you can't be yourself at work, you know, and in so many ways we live in these boxes. But man, when we figure out how we could just show up fully as ourselves, obviously our best version of ourselves. I'm not saying, like, just be who you are and not grow, but, like, let your soul breathe in every space that you're in. You know, that's been my thing. And I'm gonna say, from a professional standpoint, when I made that decision, which I probably made early, I think I was practicing that even back at Benedictine. Like, I'm not about to be that dude that talks one way at, in a meeting and talks a different way. Like, my voice.
Never. No go.
Was me. And I'm going to figure out how to articulate myself in a way where I'm able to hold my own in any setting, but somebody off my block is not going to be like, why are you talking like that?
Right. What's up with Marcus? What's wrong with you? You gonna hear me with some, the vocabulary right. I'm gonna be able to enunciate my words properly. I'm gonna challenge myself on that. And that's what I mean. I see that in companies that I've worked at in the past, where folks are code switching. I'm talking about excessively, man. They're not even being themselves. And I would see them higher on the ladder, some of these guys. And I had really had a lot of anxiety. But I'm like, how am I going to move up in this company? Because I could never be that dude. Like, I'm not coming in with my mustache shaved, and I'm gonna dress like I dress, man. I mean, I when I'm talking in meetings, and there's a bunch of white guys there, and they talking about sports that I don't watch. I'm like, I don't watch that. I watch basketball. I was watching the Bulls and Lakers. This is what I like to eat, and this is the music that I listen to. But I'm still have the technical prowess to be able to bring something to this company. But I'm not going to be, hey guys, and doing that's ridiculous. Right. Too much energy.
I know what you mean.
So much
respect. I had a guy ask me, so where do you park your boat at? I'm like, what boat? I don't have a boat. He goes, everybody has a boat. You want to take your boat out on the weekends and take your family out on it? And I'm looking at him like, a boat? But sometimes they so out of touch with, being human and you sit up in a meeting, and like I always tell my guys, there's a meet. You don't want to be in the room where it happens. They all want to be in the room where it happens. They want that Hamilton life, or they want to be in a meeting before the meeting. I tell everybody there's a meeting for every damn meeting. Before they decide to fire your ass and tell you about it, there's been a meeting. And they always look at you and laugh and go, "What do you mean by that? We already talked about that for 30 minutes before this meeting started. They've already came up with their narrative, their game plan. They got bullet points. How they gonna break it down to the staff, and that's how it goes." So I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's the one thing from college. To be real with you, Jay, and truth is that you don't get that until you go out there. And the first time you're in the room and they code switch on you, and it could be somebody you knew going into the interview process. Y'all were brothers in the meeting, 15 minutes in the meeting. Well, I would like to say that's very peculiar that you're thinking that way. And I'm looking like, what the hell? Where did Rod go? And he gets you out the meeting.
Yeah.
We got to play the game. You have to play the game. You need to learn to play the game here. You're doing too much. Follow my lead. And you're in the room like, this dude just sold his soul in a 9 o'clock meeting. He's dead for the rest of the day. And then at 2 o'clock at lunchtime, they all eat and they don't do nothing from 3 to 5. So once I learned that pattern, I was like, so we meet real intense and hard once or twice a week. The rest of the week, everybody's out there doing what they want to do. And then at the end of the week, they find somebody to do the work. So like a lot of times, the attitude I've been given in corporate America in the situation is find somebody to do it. If you want to go up the ladder, you got to find somebody to do the work for you. You can't do the work. You need to step out to work and let them do the work. And you be like, they call it pill and grow. You got to be able to pill and grow. You got to find somebody to do what you don't want to do. And that's what everybody does. And then that person gets it and they hate what they do because they're like, I didn't sign up to be your flunky. But everybody, we call them gophers. Everybody try to get a gopher in office. It's nuts when you think about it. And I don't do that to people. I'm like, I tell my people, hey, look, I need you to get this done by Thursday. I'm gonna work with you on it. I'll be out there with you on site. We'll make sure we get it done. Some people be like, why are you going out there? They'll figure it out. All right, so when they blow it up, what happens? You fire them. And I'm looking like, wow, man, this is cold-blooded. But that's
cycling through people. Yeah, it's healthy, man. It's unhealthy, but I think the part that a lot of people don't understand is damage it does to the person who was taking that approach. Like, you think you're doing other people in, you're doing yourself in. Like, this is not like, you're gonna have to live with that. The way that you've been treating people. Man, I work for this company, and I honestly, was naive to the degree that to which these types of people exist. Man, you talk about snakes in the grass, like a yard full of snakes, and they operate in that in a way that it was perplexing to me, bro. I was like, it took me months to rebound from it. I got in the company, they sold me on all these ideas and what the opportunity would be and all this kind of thing. From almost day one, it was different. They started switching it up, and I was trying to ride the wave, but man, it was unhealthy. Long story short, they laid me off. And since that time, several of them would still try to connect with me, like on LinkedIn and stuff. It's the point where it's like, I don't want nothing to do with any of these type of people. I know what you are capable of. Why would I ever invite you to be a part of anything that I'm doing? Like, and so I say that to say that people who get involved in stuff like that, the last thing, I mean, it might breed fear and respect that's earned by way of quote unquote fear, but it doesn't bring like trust and honor. So it's like, you could even look at some of these cats and be like, oh, they are killing it. They're doing this and they're doing that and they're moving up. But like, do you really have true respect for that person? Like, no, I don't trust you. I don't respect you. I don't want your life. Like, it's still slimy. It's like, no, I could never salute somebody who came into their wealth by, slimy means. Even from when we were shorties, like, you would see certain cats who they drive this or they got this kind of respect in the neighborhood, but it's like, I ain't really respecting that cat. I'm gonna stay out their way. I'm gonna salute them on the street just because I need to protect myself. But in real life, I'm not trying to do my life like that. Like, that's not really what I'm on. So it's crazy though, man. These types of things that we still see in some shape or form as adults. And I'm like, I've been knowing this since I was 11 years old. You know, back to things that I learned from stuff that we were seeing on the West Side that is literally this same principle, just applied in a different way. And again, I'm grateful for those lessons because while the whole idea of code switching is where you come from is not good enough for this, I'm able to say, no, where I come from prepared me for this. So you're going to get this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get me fully because what I know, what I bring to this table, yeah, I have the technical expertise to be here. I went to school and I'm qualified to be here. But that extra flavor that comes along with me, it brings a lot of wisdom. That's real world wisdom, not the good old boys toasting drinks and telling. No, this is stuff that me and Truth learned in the hallway at Heffron. Like we know some stuff because we've had to navigate it, in real life. And so we cheat other people out of the full experience of being in our presence when we don't fully bring ourselves. So for that reason alone, I'm like, not me. You gonna hear Jay Ferg wherever you hear me. Man, I know we've been on for a minute, man, and I got my family ready to probably go for round. We got to go out and do some more shopping. So I'm gonna have to wrap it up. But man, I'm grateful.
Y'all help me escape. So yeah, they've been trying to get me out of here, man. I've been waving, I've been looking down on my phone. They've been texting. I know what they on right now. I ain't trying to spend no money today. I'm being stingy today, man. My wife's like, we want to go to Oakbrook. I'm like, I want to go to North Riverside. They were like, why? I'm like, because I ain't trying to spend no money. Ain't nothing at North Riverside. That's why I'm trying to get y'all in there.
Hey, but we appreciate y'all inviting us, man. This is dope to be able to talk about life and the music and all of that. So thanks to you both for inviting us to join.
Yep, definitely. Refreshing conversation, man. Very refreshing conversation to hear folks who think alike talk about these topics that we captured. And definitely gave us some jewels, man. We got to get some videos out, man. Get some imagery out. Yes. I know we talked about it and we've done some of it. But I want to do it at a higher level. I think we just got to figure out how to make that happen. So
yeah, man. Like I'm gonna definitely let Novak close us out. But thanks for those final thoughts. I also wanted to underline like the duels in hip hop, man. Like just you two on the mic, like Truth dropping bars on Pockets. Like I'd be scared to like drop some bars after I heard what he threw in that. So like Ferg, I know how you did it, but man, talk about Pippin on the wing with the wing buckets and the cartridges, baby, blowing them Nintendo cartridge bars, bro. It's like, but like, yo, like Primo. DJ Premier is like my favorite producer of all time. So for you to invoke Gangstar, like I always pictured what would have like a DJ Premier like soundtrack sound like for a film, right? And it's kind of like it's unfortunate that movies and shows are like the needle drops are only there to kind of like talk about the period piece, right? And then we're shoved into the orchestra part of the movie and then whatever. But I just feel like some of these sounds that hip hop inspires can just just flow through the whole type of experience. So I appreciate that y'all kind of recognize that. That's what both of y'all music does for me. Like it invokes visuals, like 100%.
Oh man.
You guys creating those scenes that you close your eyes. I do the same thing you do, Jay. I close my eyes and listen to music. I just sit in the dorms in college and close my eyes, the door open. You can't do that some places, but you sit there and just hear that bass or hear somebody talking. It's nothing like it, man. Good music is hard to find. And the older you get, the worse. I think music getting kind of stagnant right now. So what you're seeing is that you got to make your own music, or you got to carry your own soundtrack everywhere you go in order to be happy musically at this point. You go to a party and be upset. I was at a party the other night, man, and the music was terrible. And this was like a 50, 60 crowd, 50, 60-year-old crowd. And they were playing like, I heard Blow the Whistle come on with a bunch of 60-year-olds. So I had to walk out the room, man. They were playing Blow the and the DJ stopped, said, "What's my favorite word?" And I looked like, and they knew how to finish it. I got scared.
It's dangerous, man.
I was like, and this older black ladies. I'm like, I gotta go.
Hey, I wonder,
definitely, man.
I wonder if that lady, that you was talking to when Pop stopped you was in the room.
No, not that night. No, she'd be like, man. No, she wasn't there. She would have finished the song too. She would have blew the whistle too. But yeah, yeah, he saved my life that day, man. I might not be on this pod. I ain't got no mic. I ain't got no computer. What's wrong? I'm paying child support. But the kids should be grown now. They ain't never grew up. They're still on my payroll. But anyway, yeah, man, I want to thank you and Truth, Jay Ferg Truth, for coming on the show, man. Appreciate y'all more than you can imagine, man. Absolutely, and definitely want everybody to go out there, check us out everywhere podcast is at, and then definitely go out and listen to something dope today. Go out and do something creative. All right, peace.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
I'm thinking like, touch me, tease me, feel me, caress me, hold on tight, but don't let go. Have to have some swag, have to have some cash. Jay, I think we got one, bro.
Hey, yo.
Word. Before the skinny jeans and nappy froze, we was rocking high tops and baggy clothes. I had the fade and the black jabos, leather coach belt. Had to have the tag, white tees, had to have the swag, had to have some sag at the top of keys shaking. Shooter mark making in the lunch lines casing. I was good friends with Jason, sung R&B classics. H-Town Jodeci, sing it like KC. Maybe the girls will notice me. The boys won 6 rings, we looted in the hood. They call us the Fitzgeralds, we knew that we was good. Shorts under the snaps, S-curl in the naps. Pump face and parts, got a yes girl from the back. She had the gold loops and Pelly jacket. Smart but get active, and she would go from schoolgirl to ratchet. Times I'll share with my kids in the future. JoJo on the vocals, Devontae's the producer, for real.
Hey, yo.
I told her like, touch me, tease me, feel me, caress me, hold on tight, but don't let go, my baby, my baby. I told her like, touch me, tease me, feel me, caress me, hold on tight, but don't let go, my baby.
Yeah. Before the days of cell phones, I'd hit that dial tone and get the stalling. Her mom was strict about the boys calling. It would be after 9, but I would take the risk. But sometimes her mom would answer about to have a fit like, who is this? Click. Scared, but now I'm laughing while I'm laying low, hoping she don't start 69 me. I'm saying Joe is crazy, reflecting on life in the early 90s. The music was amazing, it reminds me of time shopping for clothes, baggy t-shirts and jabos. Me and the bros would catch the bus to the mall for those. We had to stay fresh. The hooper swag was an art that we established and developed around Garfield Park. Was athletic and smart, applying lessons from the streets, determined to go to college and beat the lifespan of Cochise. In summertime, the house parties were free. Would ask a cutie for a dance to SWV.
Hey, yo.
I told her like, touch me, tease me, feel me, caress me, hold on tight, but don't let go, my baby, my baby. I told her like, touch me, tease me, feel me, caress me, hold on tight, but don't let go, my baby.
Yeah, I remember how girls used to walk down the hall, they'll just start communicating through song, you know what I mean? Girl look at you while she with her girls and be like, I wanna be down with what you're going through. We start laughing.
Thank you for listening to the HipPodHedz podcast.
Used to hit that verse and be like,
a podcast hosted by No Vac and No Sage as they discuss their hip-hop inspired moments. Share, like, subs, comment to the show on YouTube and Spotify. Go out and listen to something dope today.